Hi everybody, John McCracken, aka The Lone Biker. Just getting some energy in because today we're going to go on another adventure, this time in the gravel bike as we explore the Weaver's Trail. So what is the Weaver's Trail, I hear you ask? Well, the Weaver's Trail is an ancient path from Darvel to Eaglesham, across the Eaglesham Moor, which was primarily used by the hand loomers and weavers from the Irvine Valley to get their wares over to sell in Glasgow and Paisley. Now, it was a walk that was mostly frequented in the 18th and 19th century by the loomers and became a kind of walk ever since. Now, with the advent of the wind farm coming there, a lot of the paths have either disappeared or fallen into disrepair, but you can actually still get quite a good route through the wind farm on your bike, and today I'm going to show you how you can actually get to Eaglesham on the Weaver's Trail, kind of on it, sometimes off it, using the forestry roads in the wind farm. The signs are still up in the wind farm, and I'll show you they don't always point to a discernible path, so hopefully today you'll see how you can get there. So what better place to start than at the corner and in the shadow of Sir Alexander Fleming, and we'll head off into the wind farm and head up the Weaver's Trail. Let's go. Now, as you'll see from the corner, I took us along the wee riverside path first because I'm trying to make this as walker stroke cycle friendly as I possibly can. I had to go back onto the A71 and I've just done a left turn onto what is known as Cemetery Brae. Now, there's one obvious reason for that, is just up ahead on the corner sits a cemetery, but also this hill is a bit of a killer. So it's a wee bit of a tough start to the day. You'll notice just this is the old railway bridge, which I've spoken about before, for another day, and I would suggest just walking into your right. There is the path all the way to Loudon Hill. But anyway, as I'm on a killer hill, I'm going to leave you for a wee while and I'll check back in when I can breathe again. Here we have our first wee bit historic landmark on today's Weaver's Trail. Not the Darvel Dog Run, but you can see here this is the birthplace of Sir Alexander Fleming, just up the road there. There's no point going up, there's nothing to see there, but obviously it's worth just stopping here. The discoverer of penicillin was born here, Sir Alexander Fleming. Anyway, let's continue. You can see in the distance the windmills. That's where we are heading, up through those trees. So let's continue. We've just come to this T-junction. We just came up here. If you did Darvel, then you'll know this is where you take a right turn and you go up the hill that I've just come down. We note for the future, I don't know how long this road's going to last, because I've been told that if and when it ever disintegrates to a point that the banking isn't holding it up, the council are just going to shut it completely forever. So it's likely to be a walking point for a long time, whether or not it's a cycling point for a long time. I don't think so, but use it while you can. I think it's got a couple of years left in it, but it is quite gritty. Behind me, you can get to this point either coming up Burn Road in Darvel, which again, those of you that have done Darvel will curse me for, or all the way up from the Phil Papel in mounds. So we're heading this way though, and you can see it's got a dead end sign. Now that's a dead end sign for cars, because not for us, because today this is where our adventure kind of begins, because in all the maps I've checked so far, this kind of is the starting point for the Weaver's Trail. So I'm going to switch off for just now and I'm going to check in with you in a wee bit. You can see up ahead there's a gap in the trees, and this is our last section of tarmac for a while. This is actually quite a nice place just to come up in your car and go for a walk. And indeed at the end of the tarmac here you can park your car if you want to start your journey on foot. It cuts out a bit of the cycling or driving, walking to get there. But I love this wee bit of road. It's maybe only a mile long, but when you're on the straight road through the trees it's very scenic. And I'll talk to you again when we get to the end of the tarmac. This is the end of our tarmac, and this is where our Weaver's Trail actually becomes a trail. This is low Over Mure farm up here. It's still on the go, so don't go up that road, that's somebody's farm. But we are about to leave tarmac just past this van, and you will see here, you'll find your first sign that you are on the Weaver's Trail, and at this point it says you have you've got 11.7 kilometres to go, 7.25 miles. We might be a little bit further than that just because we're not going the direct route. Now this bit of trail here was a double track trail. It kind of fills up with water a wee bit, but it is rubbly, so although there's water, if you're on the trail on your bike and you stick to it, you're not going to sink into mud. Walkers maybe go on the side of the path, but it is a wee bit muddy at the side of the path. We've had some rain recently, so there is some water on the trail here. But we're going to go to the top, and I'll stop and talk to you at high Over Mure when we get to the top of this bit of trail. So let's go. Here's our first bit of bog snorkeling. It's not too deep today, but it is gravel underneath, so easy to go through. If I was a walker and I didn't have my wellies or my waterproofs on, I'd go to the side. You can imagine that's a bit deeper in the depths of winter. There are alternate routes out the wind farm. This is one I only tend to use if it's been dry. In the last few days it hasn't. This segment has actually got a segment up and down on Strava, but as you'll see just up ahead, because some of this is farmland and new forestry, and there's a lot of deer up here, they put in some deer gates to stop the deer coming in and eating the saplings. So it was good fun on a mountain bike to attempt both up and especially down, but you're unlikely to get anywhere near the top ferry anymore, because as you can see you have to stop at not just one of these but two. These can be a wee bit tight sometimes, but they don't spoil the day. But always make sure you close them. Right, on we go. That's the trail you've just come up, and as you can see behind me, the sign for the Weaver's Trail is pointing that way. Now if I show you that way, another fence, more double track, and it takes you up to a farm called High Over Mure. Now that farm has been long abandoned, and when you get up there, there is no discernible trace of the wind farm. Well, to go up there on a wee cycle, just to show you, but I'm going to continue up here, up this road, in the wind farm. It's called Quarry Hill. I'm going to continue up there in a moment once I've done this wee bit of single track just to show you. So let's go and I'll show you High Over Mure Farm. See up there, there's the sign for the Weaver's Trail. I have attempted this bringing my mountain bike, and even walking it was a nightmare. What is about 3.5 minute cycle to get from point to point. When I went through here, it took me about 45 minutes. So if you're walking or cycling, the point back there that I spoke to you, don't come this way. The Weaver's Trail either needs some serious upgrade or just the signs changed and adapted for modern times. You can see there's no path in there, and I'll show you the sign at the other side. For the moment, I'm just going to stick the camera back on and we'll cycle round to High Over Mure Farm, and you can see the abandoned farm. You've probably seen it or noticed it before if you're in the wind farm, because it does sit in a hill. Even the path out to here as well now, it's not well trodden, so it is pretty slimy and horrible. But go on, I'll take you a look at High Over Mure. So there you go, High Over Mure Farm. It's been a while since I was here, and quite clearly it's getting in worse condition because you could walk around in there. And there's the wind farm just outside there. So yeah, watch my video. You don't really need to come here and visit it. And as I said, this section, which if you look at my Strava map will be a wee outlier sticking out in itself, I would avoid that in the Weaver's Trail. So we'll turn around, we'll head back, and we'll get back on my modern take on the Weaver's Trail. We're back at the end of our dead end, but we are going to go up the hill and continue our trail. Don't worry, it looks steep. It doesn't last long. So this is Quarry Hill. You see there's a big buzzard up in the sky up there. I think it's a big buzzard. And you can see it's called Quarry Hill because there's the face of a quarry up here. There are 2 or 3 quarries in the wind farm, and this is obviously a really old one that's obviously not in use anymore. But this is a perfect shortcut to miss out the High Over Mure section, which is not fun. And we're not far away from where we meet up with the signs again. We'll get out of the way, leave Mr. Buzzard to his, and Mrs. Buzzard to their hunting. I'm on the Spine Road in the wind farm, and behind me here is the Weaver's Trail sign. If you were able to get from High Over Mure, this is where you would come out, and now you can see, apart from this wee bit down here, there is no discernible path. It really needs actually somebody to make it into a path or change the signs. And you can see the sign pointing that way. Let me show you that way. There is nothing in there that looks like a path. So I'm going to continue on the Spine Road for a wee while, and I'm going to work my way round, probably round this hill over here, and get back on to where you can actually use the Weaver's Trail. And I'll check in you next time I get to a bit where we see a sign. on off the Spine Road onto what's called Blackwood Road. There's a sign saying that once you just get into it, so there's no big wooden sign saying that. But again, check my route for an idea where to go, or save today's route as a route and follow it on your device. And up here at this junction, if you go left, that will take you towards Loch Goyne and the visitor centre. But we're going in this way to Loch Goyne Estate. The hill up ahead is Carrot Hill. This is Carrot Road, and the entrance to this road there is a cattle grid, and it does say no unauthorised access, but don't worry about it because this is the right of way. We're about to meet up with the Weaver's Trail again. Where we see the path for the Weaver's Trail, kinda don't go any further because up on the hill there, that is somebody's house and farm. I think there is a wee mini weather station up in there. But you'll see up ahead, if you can hear me over the wind, the wee tyre and the wee cone, and this is us back on the trail. Kind of man-made sign here that says Eaglesham, and a wee stile. Let's cross this stile with style. Be careful, especially if you're lifting your bike in the winter time. This is slippy. Now, see the next wee section? It is a wee bit hike-a-bike because there has been forestry here in the past, and they've cut down logs and trees that are hidden in the long grass. So your front wheel can easily disappear into them. There's bits of it that's cyclable. We'll just give it a go, and then there's bits where I just go off and walk. I was going to say with the section before as well, one of the reasons I wouldn't traipse at Over Mure is the Windfarm is one of the places in Scotland where I have seen adders. Britain's only venomous snake. I'm actually just going to get off and walk because you'll see likes of that there. It's Britain's only venomous snake. Now, it's not deadly, but I wouldn't want to be traipsing through long grass where there might be a wee adder or two. And I mean, they'll hear you coming and run away. So it's not just about maybe getting bitten. Watch out your animals if you've got them, but also just being aware of the wildlife and not disturbing its habitat. Now you can see a lot of this is rideable. I'm just going to walk and talk for a wee while today. But just all of a sudden there'll be hidden logs, and I'm sure there are mountain bikers out there who are laughing at me right now. I used to be a mountain biker and I might have given this a go in the past, but not today. Let's see, we'll give it another go, see how far we can get. Again, it would be nice if they upgraded this and made it a proper path. It's obviously perfect for walkers, it's not really a problem, and I have traversed this in the middle of winter and it doesn't really get overly boggy either, which is good. Oh, here's some log sections. This is what I mean. Because it's so bitty, I tend just to walk it because I can't be bothered getting off and on and off and on all the time. But what I hope you can see is that this section, and here's the bit where it's not rideable. Here's the section where it does actually look like a discernible path stroke trail, so a wee bit easier to follow. And again, like a lot of bits in the Windfarm, first time I ever did this path, the trees were high each side of me, but they come along and clear a section, the forestry do, and it looks totally different next time you come. Yeah, this section, very, very, very difficult if you're on a gravel bike, easy if you're walking. Maybe you've got the skills on a mountain bike. But anyway, that is a nice walk. And as I said, it's not a long section. I wouldn't take you on a bit that said it was hike a bike for miles and miles and miles, because that's just dull. You may as well leave the bike at home. But it's worth it. And here we go. We can get back in the bike now. A wee bit of boggy bit here, and there we're back in gravel. Perfecto! Back on the trail and back on the bicycle. I hope I'm doing you a favour today, because this path, or section of it anyway, it's one of those bits of path in the Windfarm, and unless somebody showed you, or there was a freak accident, you would never find it. But we're over the halfway mark now, and as far as I'm aware, we are back on the Weaver's Trail. So let's get pedalling again. We've come to the end of that wee section there. If you go that way, you can head back towards Ardachrigg. If you go this way, it takes you to Eaglesham. And from this point, we've done a lot of climbing out of Darvel. We're about to do a lot of descending to Eaglesham. So that's us finished the gravel for a wee while, and we're on to some tarmac, and this is going to take us down into Eaglesham. So enjoy! So here I am in the middle of Eaglesham. There's a couple of places you can go for some to eat, wee cafes and things, or the Eaglesham Arms. But there you go, there's the Weaver's Trail and a wee gravel adventure. I've come down a big hill, so just now need to get up a big hill. I'm going to try and make this journey as gravelly as possible, so wee bit of road for a wee while back up to the visitor centre and then back into the Windfarm. I just took a wee left turn that I've never taken before, going up over the Eaglesham Moor, and it is actually the dead end, so it was a bit of a pointless time, but it does give me a chance to tell you, if you didn't know already, that the Eaglesham Moor has a famous wee story from the war, where Rudolf Hess, who was the Vice-Chancellor of Germany in the war, second only to Hitler, decided, strangely, and I don't know how much Adolf knew about it, but he decided to take a hang glider and come and sue for peace, and his hang glider landed on the Eaglesham Moor where he was found by a farmer. So this is the Eaglesham Moor. I don't know exactly where the spot is, but this is where Rudolf Hess landed during the war. Anyway, I'm going to get back on track, and if you're looking at my route later, at this wee bit that sticks out in the route, ignore it. But some new wandering miles if nothing else. So I've climbed out of Eaglesham. It is quite a wee tough climb up the road, but especially with a headwind today. It's like in a southwesterly, so it's not too cold. I'll turn this around, you'll see. I'm sitting at the visitor centre at Whitelee, and as you can see, I've got a wee coffee and a wee roll just because it's lunchtime. About to head back through the wind farm, and I wasn't sure what route I was going to do today, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to Quarry Hill and go back down the double track from High Over Mure to Over Mure farm. And what I'll do is I'll take the other road back down into Darvel just so you can see it. But for the moment, I'm going to enjoy my traditional Scottish roll with square sausage and tatty scone, and I'll check in with you in a wee while. Oh, it's a wee bit more windy, but here we are, back at the old quarry. One of my favourite views. Wow. Right, we'll just go through the gate here. As always, close it behind. Here we are, back on the Weaver's Trail. Familiar territory. Right, I'll catch up with you later. We're back at the start. Hope you enjoyed that wee tour of the Weaver's Trail, or the modern alternative, the passable alternative. I came back down the alternative route down from the T-junction up at the top that brought me down at Burn Road at Cycle Station. So hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, check out some of my other wee adventures that I've been doing and putting on YouTube, and remember to like and subscribe or follow me at The Lone Biker on Instagram and TikTok and Threads and everything else. Cheers!